Live from New York, this is the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. We got a great show for you today on a Tuesday. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. How you doing today on this Tuesday?
Looking forward to tonight's show. I like going through the recap of the games. There was some really good games this weekend. We really enjoyed it. Didn't do so great on the picks this week compared to the prior two, but still anxious to talk about the games.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot to talk about, a lot to get into because we have some news, expected news. I'm going to enjoy the first part of today's show because, let's jump right into it because it's official. Russell Wilson's finished. He's kaput. He's done with. This is the end of his career. Russell Wilson is now benched for Jaxson Dart. He will be the backup, but after the performance against the Kansas City Chiefs, while looking probably the worst we've ever seen this Chiefs team look as a collective, the defense isn't great, it's not dominant, and the offense didn't know what the hell it was doing in the first half. Russell Wilson had several opportunities to come out on top and really prove that he's not as bad as he's looked the last 4 or 5 seasons, and they could only kick field goals. They scored a touchdown, missed the extra point, but the offense was ineffective massively. And the worst part about it, I think this is what really killed his chances at ever starting for the Giants again, is those several red zone opportunities that they had against the Chiefs. And this was one of the last drives the New York Giants ever had. I want to play it. This is every single red zone throw. First one, completely overthrew it. He actually got an intentional grounding on this one. Second one's a little draw play, gets basically nowhere. The third down play, let's take a look at this one. He's waiting, he's ducking, he's chucking. And then on the fourth down, what does he do? Do they kick a field goal? Although they get close, no. It's Russell Wilson hitting the goalpost, not Graham Gano or any of their kickers or punters. So that was Russell Wilson in the red zone. And I wish I could say, well, this is just a one-off. He's not actually that bad in the red zone. This season in the red zone, Russell Wilson, 20% red zone percentage, which is one of the worst in the NFL. The only one that's worse is the Houston Texans, who have a 0 red zone percentage. They're 0 for 4 in the red zone. Completion percentage, 22.2%. Passing yards, only 16.9 yards. An attempt, a passer rating of 39.6. You get that same passer rating if you threw it into the dirt every single time. By the way, the completion percentage, the passing yards per attempt, and the passer rating, 39.6, all worse than the NFL. And I wish I could say it got better. Within the 10-yard line, 15 of Russell Wilson's 18 attempts in the red zone, 15 of them come within the 10-yard line. He's 2 of 15, that's 13.3% completion percentage, 1 yard. One singular yard within the 10-yard line. Obviously, that's the worst in the NFL. And the completion percentage, the next highest player is 27 percentage points higher than Russell Wilson within the 10-yard line. He has been ineffective. Yeah, he has a great deep ball. Speaking about the deep ball, let's take a look at some of the deep balls he threw on Sunday night. These were the 2 of them so far. I don't know what he was seeing. I don't know what the game plan was. That one's into triple coverage. I don't understand it. And this one, the next one that I'm going to play for you in a couple of seconds. Again, this is just like Malik Neighbors is out there somewhere. Let's hopefully get him the ball. And he actually threw a hospital ball to Malik Neighbors that got picked off. I mean, he threw a hospital ball to Malik Neighbors, who ended up getting injured. So Russ has completely lost it. I've been on this now for several years at this point because Russell Wilson, his entire career, he has not been relied upon. It's kind of a J.J. McCarthy thing. Has he been effective in moments and spots? Sure. But if we take a look at the data based on Russell Wilson and him leading the offense versus the rushing attack and the defense, these are the offensive numbers. He has not been asked to do anything. We're seeing dead last in attempts, bottom 5 in passing yards. That's Russ's career. And the let Russ cook era might have been the worst thing to ever happen to Russ. After week 9 of the 2020 season, that's when he absolutely fell off. And it went from let Russ cook to him burning down the kitchen. This is exactly the opportunity that everybody needed to see, that I knew that Russ is not a Hall of Famer. I've been on this for several years now. Nobody wants to believe it. Nobody wants to admit it, because what we saw is he made it to 2 Super Bowls. He made it to several Pro Bowls, although half of them he was actually a reserve player for it, so he actually didn't even make it in the first cut. He was brought in later when players didn't want to go to the Pro Bowl. So did he really earn it? I don't know. Do we think Mac Jones's Pro Bowl is earned? Do we think Russ's Pro Bowl last year is earned? I don't. I think Drake May might have even made the Pro Bowl. What's it called? Snoop Huntley made the Pro Bowl as a reserve. So are we counting those as Pro Bowl votes? Are we counting that towards it? He's never made an All-Pro. He's never got in an MVP vote. let alone won an MVP or even been a runner-up or even a third. He's never even gotten an MVP vote, let alone won the award. Everybody knows the Legion of Boom, that's where Russ excelled because he had Marshawn Lynch and a top-tier running attack. He had a phenomenal defense. They were number 1, number 2, number 3 within that Legion of Boom era. But as soon as it was the let Russ cook era, once again, he was burning down the kitchen. And I think that we could take a look at that Dallas game and be like, no, but Russ threw for nearly like 500 yards. What's going on? He did that last year with the Pittsburgh Steelers, and this year, I don't think it's exactly, reputable to be like, no, Russ is still good. He threw for like 450 yards against the Cowboys when the Cowboys defense allowed Caleb Williams to look like an all-pro. And nobody, as it currently stands, think Caleb Williams is even close to looking like an all-pro. But the Cowboys defense allowed him to execute at an extremely high level, and the Cowboys defense, which I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes, might be the worst defense I've ever seen, at least passing defense-wise. So now Jaxson Dart needs to go up against the Chargers defense because Brian Daboll is probably very scared that if they get blown out or Russ looks terrible against the Chargers, that he may get fired after 4 weeks. So I think this was just a plea to John Mara to be like, just let me put the rookie in. Let me see what he could do. It'll be his first game. Give me a little bit of time to see what's going on. I think that's really the only reason why, because I think that Andrew Thomas will still be on a snap count. He was in this game. He actually did very well when he was out there, and the offense still didn't move. And the only time you brought Jaxson Dart in was to run him on handoffs, and he was supposed to pass on one of them, but then he got pressured, so he had to scramble, so it wasn't good whatsoever. I do not think, as I've said for years, Russell Wilson is not a Hall of Famer. He hasn't been a good quarterback. You could take a look at some of the numbers, but then everybody who claims that stats aren't everything, when I say that, when I give a stat out there, like, oh, well, stats not everything. You got to look at the film. You got to look at the eye test. Well, my eye test says that Russell Wilson on the Denver Broncos was the least effective quarterback after that first drive, and the data backs that up. The data also proves that Russell Wilson is the only quarterback for the last 3 years to be double-digit in check-down percentage. And I was criticizing Daniel Jones for being Danny Dink and Dunk. Well, first of all, Daniel Jones now is ripping it like no other. He leads the NFL in yards per play and yards per attempt, and I'm pretty sure he's one of the top guys in average depth of target and air yards per attempt. So he's slinging it on the Colts, and Russell Wilson is doing basically nothing effective. Again, everyone was happy. Oh, we got Russ. We got Russ now. It'll be okay. We have a quarterback. And I went back in the archives of the Harvey Hour to look at some of the old shows, and one of them was when Russ signed with the New York Giants. And my take was, which by the way, I called Jaxson Dart to the Giants, but I thought their number 3 overall pick shouldn't be Abdul Carter because they already had a decent amount of defenders and they were already making some new moves on the defensive side. I thought they should have gotten Travis Hunter because who else do they have? Wan'Dale Robinson's okay. Last year, he was the least effective third down wide receiver in the NFL. No one really fears any of your tight ends. Not a single one of them. No one fears Darius Slayton. Nobody really cares about him. Malik Neighbors is the only real threat. And when he's not really open, Russ chucks it to him anyway, and it gets intercepted. So we could take a look at the Cowboys game. I'm sure Giants fans and Russell Wilson fans will hark on, oh, well, he had over 400 yards. The Cowboys defense allowed Caleb Williams, after putting up 2 duds in the first 2 games and getting blown out against the Detroit Lions, allowed him to throw for 4 touchdowns and 300 yards and probably have the best game he'll ever have as an NFL player because Luther Burden wide open. DJ Moore. I mean, are they playing Pee-wee football or are they playing NFL football? Because how the hell do you get that wide open? Which, by the way, he executed in the red zone. Russ can't do that. So we can look at any number. Give me any piece of data you want. Passing yards, passer rating. I would have agreed with you. The start of the 2020 season, if you told me Russ has a shot because he wasn't a Hall of Famer then, he didn't have the accolades, he didn't have any. If you told me that Russ has a trajectory if he keeps it up to be a Hall of Famer, I would have agreed with you. And then I saw the let Russ cook era, and I'm like, the Seahawks, yeah, they went 12-4, but I saw that playoff game against the Rams. It wasn't good. It was really, really ugly. Now, the offensive line at that time was so banged up, and they didn't really have anybody, so Russ was snapping and running. But 2021, last year with the Seahawks, didn't look good. 2022 with the Broncos, looked horrible. I still remember that Thursday night game. Broncos-Colts. They only kicked field goals. That's the only thing they did. And then you have to go up against 2023, where the numbers looked a little bit better, but ultimately the effectiveness wasn't there. And then 2024 on the Steelers, he started off great, had a 400-yard game against the Bengals, but in the last 5 years, his offense averaged 14 points a game. And that's your savior? Just like how I found it funny how they're like, oh, the Steelers, we have an upgraded quarterback. Maybe. But Aaron Rodgers and this offense is one of the worst offenses in the NFL right now. And Rodgers, his touchdown to interception ratio is taking a hit a little bit. He's throwing a few interceptions here and there. And they can't run the ball. Rodgers isn't all that great. He had one great revenge game against the Jets. But ultimately, Russell Wilson, we could talk about the pressures and whatnot. Russell Wilson hangs in the pocket too much. Yeah, he has a great deep ball, but we saw in this game, he was just chucking it to see if anything stuck as sort of a Hail Mary prayer type of throw. And right now, I think this is the right move. I find it really unfortunate that you have Jaxson Dart playing in a game against one of the best defenses in the NFL. But I was going to say funny part, but the sad part about it is the Giants really have no leeway. It's either you start Jaxson Dart now and hope he doesn't die against the Los Angeles Chargers, or you would have kept Russ in against the Chargers to put him in against the Saints. But we don't know if John Mara would have kept Shane and Daboll or Shane Bowen around for that long anyway. I thought Shane Bowen called a tremendous defensive game. Mahomes looked nothing like we know Mahomes to look. Their offense didn't do anything. They were kicking field goals only. So I thought Shane Bowen at least kept his job, alive for the time being. We'll see against the Chargers. We'll see against the Eagles, Broncos, Eagles, 49ers, and so on. But this was a Hail Mary for Brian Daboll to hopefully just retain his job for right now. I don't think it'll really do that much because the Giants, based on the way they're looking, I could see the Saints beating them. I feel like now we now have to consider 0-17 because their offense doesn't move. They're on a rookie quarterback. Their head coach might be one step away from getting fired. Their defensive coordinator, I think, just saved his job for the time being, but we'll see if they keep getting blown out. Joe Shane is going to get criticized, and he'll probably be let go at the end of the season. So what are you doing if you're the Giants fans? What are you expecting to really happen? You had it over under 5.5 wins. I expected you to be bad. I didn't expect it to be this bad. I knew Russ wasn't good, but I didn't expect Russ to be this horrific. So we'll see exactly what's going to go on moving forward for the New York Giants, but expected. The Russell Wilson Hall of Fame talks ended week 3 against the Kansas City Chiefs. He was ineffective, could not move the football. In the red zone, he threw it more towards the back of the end zone than towards a receiver. He hit the goalpost on that 4th and goal, and it was just heaves, chucks, and really, what are you looking at? Russ looked really bad. And this is not a blip, like I said years ago. This is a trend. And we officially hit the bottom of that trend. We are now plateauing in probably should retire territory. Because where's the starter value? He can't operate an offense effectively anymore. He'll have these, and I said, he's like LeBron. He has a game or two where he looks really good. But ultimately, he's not nowhere near the same level of effectiveness. And maybe LeBron is too much of a compliment for Russ. Maybe I got to bring it back a little bit. I'm more so just doing the old thing. Maybe in the playoffs, he'll have 1 or 2 good games a series. But ultimately, Russ, he's finished. This was the end of Russell Wilson's career as a true starter. Because we saw him, he's got bounced around the league to the Seahawks, the Broncos, the Steelers, and now the Giants, all since 2021. How many teams are going to look at him and say, well, let's take a look at the last 8 games. You didn't really do much. You lost, I want to say, 1-7 in the last 8 games? Let's see how you could change our franchise around. No. It's over. Unfortunately for Russell Wilson, his career ended week 3 against the Kansas City Chiefs. All right, let's go to the next one. Jerry Jones made a comment recently because here's the big controversy with Jerry Jones. He traded away his best player. And The Athletic made a poll before Mike McCarthy got fired on basically who would you expect to be around the next 3 years? And the crazy part about it is the number 1 highest polled guy, it was between Dak Prescott, CeeDee Lamb, and Micah Parsons. Micah Parsons was the leading guy in that vote. And he's the only guy not to be on the team anymore. And so Jerry Jones in his post game, he was talking to the media, and this is what he had to say. He said, quote, If I had the opportunity to really do some good with those picks, I would do it. We've got them, and that's one of the advantages to making this trade. I can create an opportunity to use them. That usually doesn't work the way at all. You've got to have something that comes your way really special. Jerry Jones has this inclination that the Cowboys are still in it. The Cowboys are not in it. They haven't been in it. They've been close. But ultimately, when it gets to January, everybody knows Dak Prescott or the Cowboys in general, they will fall flat on their face because they are not a good NFL team. And this season, I wish I could say it got better. I wish I could say that, Jerry Jones should definitely use those picks that they got. By the way, 4 first-round picks total in the next 2 years. I'd use them for drafting players, not acquiring more cap-heavy guys. But Jerry Jones thinks acquiring a player now will still keep them alive. No. You nearly lost to, but ultimately beat the New York Giants, while Russ put up nearly 500 yards. And then you let Caleb Williams look like an all-pro player, throwing for basically 300 yards and 4 touchdowns. I think that might be the greatest game Caleb Williams will ever play, probably within the next 5 to 10 years. But the defense is really bad. It is horrifically bad. And I do not think that you could just go and just draft the next Micah Parsons in the next 2 drafts. Because what his impact was, even though he missed a couple games last year, his impact last year compared to this year, not having him is crazy. This year so far, the Cowboys have the second most yards of separation allowed. Last year, they were 19th. 27th in sack percentage this year. They were 2nd last year. 15th in pressure rate this year. Not bad, above average, but they were 4th last year. 26th in time to pressure. They're very slow at pressuring the quarterback. They were 11th last year. They have the most yards per pass play allowed. They have the 3rd most yards total allowed, and they're 6th in points allowed. This defense is terrible. The Bears, we were talking about what is Ben Johnson going to do with Caleb Williams looking like a bad quarterback and really pissing him off. Ben Johnson was talking about the intangibles of Tyson Bagent last week when their defense allowed, 51 points? And they were talking about the offense has to be better. What? Well, now they just put up 31 points against the Dallas Cowboys, and Dak Prescott threw 2 picks, and the defense couldn't stop Luther Burden and DJ Moore. I mean, the guys who scored touchdowns, are they playing Pee Wee football or NFL football? Because how the hell do you get that wide open within the red zone? Russ struggles in the red zone. The Bears against the Cowboys couldn't be more open in the red zone. It's supposed to be more difficult to score in the red zone because everything's condensed. You don't have, 50 yards to deal with. You have 20 or 10. And the fact that the Bears were able to score that efficiently, now running the ball, that's still something that they desperately need to work on. But passing-wise, Caleb Williams looked great. And so Jerry Jones is going to come out here and say, well, yeah, we could use those picks to potentially get a guy, and we have this opportunity that most teams don't have, and I can make it work. You can make what work? The team doesn't work. The only thing that works is the pocketbook because you're the richest owner, you're the richest franchise, but you are probably the most disappointing franchise probably in NFL history because you are considered America's team. You have probably, I think, the biggest stadium when it comes to fans in the stadium, over 100,000 fans you could have in the Dallas Cowboys stadium. Your general managing skills are terrible. The ability to create really good contracts is very questionable. You waited way too long for Dak Prescott. You're paying him $5 million average annual value more than any other quarterback in the NFL. The Micah Parsons deal, you waited until the 11th hour and ultimately had to trade him, and I can understand why if he wanted the back-breaking deal that he got with the Green Bay Packers. CeeDee Lamb, you could have saved millions and millions of dollars on his contract if you just signed him before the market broke it. Everybody, fans, coaches, players, whatever, everybody saw the market about to blow up, and Jerry Jones waited and waited and waited. So ultimately, this is going to, again, the Cowboys are in a reset. They should be in a reset. But because of the Dallas Cowboys, they'll do something the Giants have done, the Jets have done, the Panthers have done slightly. All the bad teams, the Saints have been forced to stick with because of their cap situation, where it's you can't just absolutely hit the full reset button and go from being a terrible team to then, building towards something. The Cowboys are always going to be acquiring players or acquiring picks to then acquire more players or signing guys to massive extensions in order to stay relevant. And Jerry Jones still thinking that they have an opportunity to make the playoffs and win. The only reason you have an opportunity to make the playoffs and not have real competition is because the Giants are in your division and they're terrible. That's the only way you can at least boost your rating is because you can get 2 wins there. You already have 1. You can probably get another 1. So ultimately, this is ridiculous. The Cowboys are not going to be good. They've been all right for the past couple of years under Mike McCarthy. Now under Brian Schottenheimer, the offense is actually shockingly good. They could run the ball at a decent level. Dak Prescott turnover issues, that'll always be there. And especially come January, it will definitely be there. But the defense is absolutely terrible. And I can understand now why Matt Eberflus got fired as head coach of the Chicago Bears. After this defensive season, he should be fired after only 1 year. And I still think Anthony Weaver, the DC of the Miami Dolphins, unless their defense shapes up, I expect him to be fired as well. Because why would you keep a guy who's completely ineffective with actually talented people? There are talented players on the Dallas Cowboys defense, but they're getting cooked every which way. Trevon Diggs is getting cooked every which way. I mean, everybody knows Trevon Diggs for 2 things: getting interceptions and then allowing like 900 yards allowed per season. Elam, what is he doing? He's the worst cornerback in the NFL right now. He cannot guard anybody. CeeDee Lamb's out now. You have Cooper Beebe out for a while. You lost Tyler Guyton now for a little while. You have no health. You have no talent. You have no real coaching, and your defense is basically non-existent. And now you're thinking that you're going to use your first-round picks to start making moves to potentially keep you in contention? I'd draft players. You're not going to draft the next Micah Parsons, but just like the Rams did, where they lost Aaron Donald, arguably one of the greatest pass rushers in NFL history, you used all the draft capital to build a a defensive line that equates to one Aaron Donald. Now, you just got Jared Verse, who's the rookie defensive player of the year last year. But you also have a really good pass rusher, Byron Young, as well, to add to that defensive line. Also, a plethora of other players. Defensive backs are relatively good. And then your offense is really good. You got Devontae Adams out there, Puka Nacua. You let Cooper Kupp go. You have dudes. The Cowboys should build using quantity of young talent instead of trying to get a Max Crosby and then overpay for him or take on a massive amount of his contract where you do that with Micah Parsons, who is incredibly effective for you, who, by the way, I'll bring it up again, your sack percentage last year was 2nd. This year it's 27th. Your time to pressure this year so far is 26th. You're very slow at generating pressure compared to 11th last year. So the pass rush is abysmal. The pass defense, you have the 2nd most yards of separation allowed this year compared to 19th last year. So the Cowboys defense is terrible. It will continue to be terrible. And if we take a look at the schedule real quick, you have the Green Bay Packers this week. Now, that point spread might move. I actually, as a pre-Harvey hot hand pick, I actually have 2 Harvey hot hand picks that I'm going to talk about right now that I'll discuss on Friday. I might have only 3 picks on Friday, although I may add 2 more just for the sake of it. Have a 7 Harvey hot hand pick week. I'm taking the Packers minus 6.5 on the road. I think they will obliterate the Dallas Cowboys. They're the healthier team. They come off an embarrassing loss against the Cleveland Browns. Jordan Love threw a weird interception late. They just look very, very poor against the Dallas Cowboys defense. They might put up 500 yards or maybe more. I think the Packers are going to absolutely obliterate the Dallas Cowboys in week 4 here. And then you go against the Jets, who, Justin Fields, we'll see if he gets back into the Panthers. So you have an opportunity for 2 wins. And then you play the Commanders. I'm sure Jaden Daniels will be back. Then you play the Broncos. Bo Nix right now is the lowest graded quarterback in the NFL, and the defense is surprisingly not as good as as I expected. We'll see if they figure it out. But you have games against the Eagles, the Chiefs, the Lions, the Vikings, the Chargers, the Commanders twice, the Broncos. You play the Packers this week. The Chiefs have to figure out their offense. But there are a lot of opportunities for teams to absolutely obliterate you. And now, with the way the Vikings looked, who knows what Week 15 will look like? Whether Carson Wentz will be out there, J.J. McCarthy will be out there, who knows? But they just absolutely crushed anything Jake Browning and the Bengals tried to do. So I'll give it to Jerry Jones. He keeps his name in media. It's a very, very impressive thing. But some of the things he says just to keep his name in media, it makes no sense. And that's why, if you look at the percentage of hope, I forget who did the poll, but a team did like the positive outlook on your team. The Cowboys were a bottom 3 team. I can understand why. You have a delusional owner who does nothing in free agency that's really, really effective for your team besides lose money, lose cap space, and lose great players. You don't sign anybody, really. You don't sign anyone of note. The owner just keeps his name in the media. The offensive line is always banged up. You have no real effective running game. Javonte Williams is surprising me, but it's not a dominant running game whatsoever. George Pickens is a nice pick, but CeeDee Lamb's now banged up. Your defense is terrible, as I think a lot of people expected. You'll have no pass rush without Micah Parsons out there. So what are you going to do? You're going to be very, very bad this season. I think really, take a look at it. You got 5 wins left at the very most. So 6-11. That's the Dallas Cowboys now. They were 7-10 last year with Brian Schottenheimer, excuse me. Marty Schottenheimer's dead. Brian Schottenheimer, Matt Eberflus, one of the worst defenses in the NFL. How can you have hope? I mean, let's be honest. How can you have hope? The offense is surprisingly good. That's probably the only thing there. But the defense is not going to keep you in any games. It's not going to do anything. It's not going to benefit you in any which way. It's only going to hurt you. You made no massive moves. You got Elam from a trade in the offseason, and he's the worst cornerback on your team. As long as Jerry Jones still thinks the Cowboys are in it and refuse to hit the reset button and draft players of note, the Cowboys are always going to be in this cycle of just mid. That's all they're going to be. They're never going to really break through and make the championship game or make it past the divisional game, depending on who they play. That's the Dallas Cowboys. Hell, they may not even make it past the wild card in a few years. They have an overpaid, he's worth it, but you could have saved millions of dollars. That's the only reason why I'll say overpaid. But you could have saved probably $5, $6, $7 million maybe per year on CeeDee Lamb's contract if you just paid him early. Dak Prescott's making $5 million more than any other quarterback, and he's not a top 5 quarterback in the league, let alone number 1. The defense is, let's take a look on positional spending. They spent the 9th most on safeties, the 9th most on cornerbacks, the 16th most, so that's average on linebackers, 20th on the defensive line, 13th total spending all defense. That's the Dallas Cowboys. You spend a bunch, and what does it equate to? Mid. You're never winning a Super Bowl in probably Jerry Jones' time, unless the NFC just gets nuked and everybody just gets banged up. The 49ers are doing their classic representation of what they normally do, of just getting banged up, injured, out for the year, ACL tear. There's a rinse and repeat for the San Francisco 49ers. They're never healthy. So that's sort of expected per year. You expect the 49ers to deal with some injuries. Now, you don't expect Nick Bosa to go down 3 weeks in, and by the way, that is the same knee he tore his ACL in a few years ago, so that's very, very unfortunate for him. Cowboys are favored in 6 games this season. Again, where's the hope? I think Cowboys fans are fed up. They're fed up with the ineffectiveness of Dak Prescott winning big-time moments. Everybody's fed up with Jerry Jones. This false hope of Jerry Jones saying, we're still in. No, you're not. You signed Matt Eberflus to be your DC after the Bears' defense was one of the major things getting criticized besides the offensive line. And you say, he's our defensive coordinator. Dan Quinn's doing a pretty damn good job in Washington. Marcus Mariota in that offense just put up 40-plus points. Cowboys, I feel bad. Although for the past 30 years, every season it's, we're going to the Super Bowl. No, you're not. The Cowboys fans, and I have a friend who's a Cowboys fan, always believed in it. Basically, my entire, we're going to the Super Bowl. And the last 2-3 years, it's been, we have a shot. So do 31 other teams, technically. It's not looking good. Not looking up. Coming up on the show, Lions-Ravens. We both got this game wrong. What a performance from Dan Campbell, the defense, Jared Goff in the offense. It's a team to be reckoned with again. My faith is restored in the Detroit Lions. And also, we have your weekly report. Week 3's in the books. We'll talk about all the key headlines from Week 3 after this quick 20-30-second break.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.
Welcome back to the Harvey Hour. My name's Nathan Harvey. As always, I'm joined alongside my dad, Stephen Harvey. It's not that I'm not a fan of them. I'm done with their ridiculousness. People are saying, Russ is a Hall of Famer.
You're not a fan of Russell Wilson.
I know facts. I know data. The data says
but you've
he
never
got
been
carried.
a fan of Russell Wilson. Everything
Because I
has
looked
been,
at the data and said he's a Hall of Famer. Same thing with Eli Manning. Eli Manning is one of the least effective
Eli
quarterbacks.
Manning didn't make it in the
And
first
who said
ballot.
that? I had an hour-long argument. I said he's not going to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. No, he's a first ballot. No, he's not.
I mean, for all Jerry Jones' failings, he is worth $10 billion. So,
I think it might be 12 now.
yeah. So
Again,
he's doing something right.
He's keeping his name in media.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing he does well.
I agree with you. He shouldn't take those draft picks and try to get a player now. He should wait and go ahead. You know, they'll have a poor season. He'll have high draft picks. He should wait. He should wait. Use those picks to build. I think that makes a lot more sense.
One of the reasons why he got off, Mike, is to have cap flexibility.
He's actually done pretty well in the draft over the years, right? He hasn't been a free agent guy for the most part.
That's where
His
all the good
problem
players
is
are.
that when he drafts good players and they do really well, he waits too long to re-up them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So.
All right, let's get into our next topic of today's show, which is indeed the Detroit Lions versus the Baltimore Ravens, because what a game it was for the Detroit Lions. They absolutely dominated in this one. They were going back and forth early in the game, but when it came down to it, the Baltimore defense couldn't stop Jared Goff and the Detroit Lions offense. David Montgomery had well over, 150 yards rushing. Jahmyr Gibbs and David Montgomery both contributed 2 touchdowns apiece, which, by the way, I think the ESPN is ESPN, Monday Night Football put a stat up there that they have the most touchdowns of a duo in a game in NFL history with 10 games like that, which is crazy to think. Thunder and lightning, Sonic and Knuckles, it's absolutely crazy. We both had the Ravens in this game and covering the 5.5 point spread. And the Lions, after, week 1 looking terrible and not being able to do a damn thing, week 2, their offense exploded. And in this game, they look very unstoppable. So my question to you is, what was your takeaway? What was your reaction to the Lions' big-time win against the Baltimore Ravens in Baltimore?
Well, the Lions hold off Ravens for impressive win on the road. That's my headline. My summary is Dan Gamble's a genius. It's locked in my memory. To go on the road with a new OC in D.C. and beat Jackson and Henry. I thought it was pretty impressive. And to think that, he has a new OC and a new DC, and the first game of the season, they lost pretty badly to the Packers. To go straighten that all out and play great the second week, and then play in this game, which is a measurement game, right? It measures where you are playing against the Ravens, who are a Super Bowl contender. I think I give Dan Campbell a lot of credit. I more so than I've ever thought that he could resurrect, and make those adjustments, bring those new guys in, and be right back up on top now after just losing one at the beginning of the season, recognizing the problems, fixing them, and coming out in this game and being really right on track. And my comments, overall comments here, Lions offense on track. With the new OC, hitting on all cylinders with impressive passing and running game. Running game was fantastic, right? I mean, we think Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson, great run duo, and they are, but not last night, not compared to the Detroit Lions, who were balanced in every aspect of the game. Montgomery had that long run. I think he had a 72-yard run. And Gibbs, they each had 2 touchdowns. Those guys are, they're tough, and they're to be reckoned with. And unfortunately, the Ravens couldn't deal with it. And I think the weaknesses on the Ravens, the defense, porous last night, giving up 38 points. And their offense, Lamar got sacked 7 times. So, their offensive line, some question marks there. The Lions defense played well. As I said, they had 7 sacks, a forced fumble by Henry in the fourth quarter. They slowed down Henry, who only had 50 yards on 12 carries, 1 TD. Jared Goff, a great game, 20 of 28, 202 yards. He played very well. Lamar had a great game, too. 21 of 27, 288 yards, 3 TDs. And the Ravens, Lamar had 35 yards rushing as well. The Ravens, it's the fourth quarter again. The fourth quarter got them. This time they were behind in the fourth quarter. Usually they're ahead, trying to hold off the other team who catches them and beats them. This time they were behind. They played poorly. Henry had that fumble. The Lions forced a punt, then had a 7-play, 70-yard drive to effectively win it. So if I were the Ravens, I'd be a little worried. They've got two of the greatest stars in the game in Lamar and Henry. Zay Flowers is a great player. They have Likely coming back. They have David Andrews, Mark Andrews, sorry, had a great game last night. So they've got talent, but they're having problems putting it all together, and they run out of gas late in the game, and they have to hang on for dear life to win, or they're behind. Now they're behind in the fourth quarter trying to catch up. So it doesn't look good.
Well, I do think there are two sides to this. The first thing will be the Lions, I think they're back. This was a testament to what exactly they needed a game like this, where we were like, okay, new DC, new OC, you got blown out, couldn't stop Jordan Love and the Packers, and the defense made Jared Goff look so uncomfortable. And then the Bears was like, the Bears are reeling. They're not a great team yet. You put up a great offensive performance. What are they? Is this real? You go up against the Baltimore Ravens, who are consistent. We expect them to go far in the playoffs, although, again, I don't think Lamar and the Ravens will ever win a Super Bowl. That's just my hot take that I had a couple years ago. But it's like, okay, what can the Detroit Lions do against a decent pass rush, a pretty good, at least talent-wise on paper, pretty good plethora of defenders, and then how are they going to deal with Derrick Henry? Because if we remember last year when these teams played, I think, the Ravens were up 35-0 at halftime. And the Lions came back and was touchdown. Then the defense allowed touchdown again. The defense allowed touchdown. I mean, the Lions executed beautifully. I thought they had a tremendous game plan. Defensively, they had a QB spy on a majority of the plays. They were not letting Lamar just sitting there, and then as soon as the pocket broke down, for him to just, go out there. I thought the using a QB spy the way they did, and here's something that players don't do for Patrick Mahomes, but I saw the Lions do for this one. Mahomes likes to pump fake a lot. Even when he's 40 yards beyond the line of scrimmage, he'll pump fake to just try to get a guy to stop for a second. Every single time the QB sneak and Lamar stepped up, the QB spy went after Lamar, didn't care. Put up their hands and just said, I'm going to tackle you. You could pump fake all you want and throw it over my head and try, but you are not going to pump fake me. And that was a tremendous decision by whoever said, if that was just instinct, by all means, that's a beautiful instinct. But the ability to not get really faked out by any pump fake and just say, ball, quarterback, go get him, I thought it was incredible. Tackling it, that's another thing. Lamar Jackson's elusiveness is number one in the NFL. Nobody is as elusive as Lamar Jackson. The ability to bring him down is near impossible when he's doing his old jukes and moves and backs and lefts and rights and forwards. The QB spy did a tremendous job tackling Lamar. If the pocket broke down, the pass rushers outside, when they touched him, they brought him down, which was big. They didn't have many missed tackles on the day. I thought they did a great job, a phenomenal job tackling. And also, pass rush. Lamar Jackson executed against the blitz beautifully. But here's the funny part. They had, in week 3, the best sack rate when they didn't blitz. 27.8% sack rate when they didn't blitz. So they had the most pressures this week when they didn't blitz. They had the most sack rate. I mean, they did really, really well not blitzing Lamar, which means you could drop more guys in coverage. You could have a QB spot in the middle of the field just watching Lamar's eyes, watching when he steps up. So defensively, I thought the Lions played absolutely incredibly. Tackling, coverage was relatively good. I don't like Terry Arnold's penalties a little bit. And then offensively for the Baltimore Ravens, this was really shocking. I thought Todd Monken called a terrible game. 2nd and 10, players are 15 yards down the field. 1st and 10, players are 30 yards down the field. It seems like every crucial play where you tried to move the sticks, it was, let's take a deep shot. This is not Anthony Richardson. This is not Russell Wilson. This is Lamar Jackson. So just give him a nice route, do a little hook route, do a little comebacker, 3-4 yards, just keep the chains moving. And especially when they're getting to you with 4 or 5 pass rushers, you need to get the ball out very quickly. But it was, let's let Lamar just hang in the pocket and throw it deep and try all this, which caused him to hesitate in the red zone. Several times it was Lamar Jackson just hesitating. You'd see him, he'd try to throw, but then hold it and then get sacked. And just holding the ball and figuring out where's the next guy and just really not looking great. He looked indecisive. I thought the game planning was terrible. Obviously, the defense was abysmal because they did not force a turnover, get a sack, and they missed 20 tackles, which would have accumulated to 126 yards for Detroit. So the defense was terrible, but that's obviously the defense is a bottom 2 defense in the NFL right now. I thought that some of the play calls were weird. Bootleg or a handoff to Derrick Henry, who nearly threw an interception. Lamar Jackson had a bad throw, which nearly got picked off. I thought, overall, the play calling on both sides of the ball was terrible, but it was shockingly poor on the offensive side. I thought Todd Monken, you look at the All-22, there are a couple guys open here and there. It was just indecisiveness, not trusting the offensive line. Lamar Jackson, I feel like, had a couple opportunities when they didn't QB spy to take a QB scramble, but he stayed in the pocket, tried to step up and make a 30-yard throw. I thought the indecisiveness, the bad game planning from Todd Monken, and obviously the defense is bad, but early on it was going back and forth anyway. So at that point, it's just like, okay, offense, keep up, because the defense is doing nothing. And when they couldn't, and when Lamar Jackson started to be more indecisive and the pass rush was getting there, it's you have to scheme something up quick, get it to your guy. Zay Flowers taken completely out of the game. DeAndre Hopkins, they're only using him for go balls. He's a better receiver than that. Use him for better routes than just saying, hey, run down the field. We'll throw it to you.
Mm-hmm. Well, Mark Andrews they used quite well last night.
He had a great
game.
Had
6 receptions, 91 yards, and 2 TDs, so kind of redeemed himself for his playoff problems last year. The final thing I'd like to say about this game is the big plays that the Lions made. They made a couple of fourth down. Their fourth down efficiency was great, right? They took those fourth downs and they were right down in the red zone there.
Yeah,
they converted those.
That
and
double option play too.
And the stop of the Ravens when they were deep in the red zone there on 4 plays. They stopped them, and that was, to me, that kind of turned the tide of the game.
Well, I feel like Lamar tried to play a little too passive. When the pass rush was getting there, I mean, there was one play, it was where they were down 4th and goal, Lamar got strip sacked, but it was 4th and goal anyway, so it didn't matter. If Lamar just ripped it to Zay Flowers on the right side, right corner, where he was bootlegging out, probably Derrick Henry was wide open on the left side, but it was a bootleg right, so you're not going to look to the left side. So I don't fault him for missing Derrick Henry, who was wide open for the touchdown, because the defense was moving with Lamar. But Zay Flowers had a step on Terry Arnold might have been the nearest defender. Whoever was defending might have been Brian Branch. Whoever was on Zay Flowers. If Lamar just ripped it, I would take that 50-50 shot at Zay Flowers bringing that ball down. What I wouldn't do is just hang around there, holding it, and then getting ship sacked. That's not what I would do. Because you're not, at that point, it's like you're not even trying to make a play. Because you're not going to run it. You're not going to, hand it off. You're just trying to make a passing play, but if you're just standing there, Zay Flowers had a step on the guy. I thought also, down in the red zone, obvious run, you're obviously going to pass on the very next play. I thought, again, it was a weird game for Todd Monken. It was an obvious I formation, no one out wide, no play action, tight end little, play action pass.
They thought they could muscle it in with Henry. They tried it twice and it failed.
I thought it was just a very, very bad. There was no real adjustments made. The defense is going to be bad. That's a given. But again, early in the game, it was just back and forth offense. So you have to keep up. And when Todd Monken and this offense couldn't figure it out, they just, let's stick with the game plan. Late in the game, 2nd and 10, 3rd and 10, or 2nd and 9. You look at the All-22, there's a guy 40 yards down the field. There's another guy like 12 or 13 yards down the field. It's and 10, not and 40. Just get a chunk play. Keep the chains moving. Keep the ball moving. You don't need an explosive play. And honestly, that's been hurting them. They have, I think, they either have the fewest offensive plays or top 3 in fewest offensive plays. Their defense, which is already bad, is getting right back out there. Yeah, it's sort of a positive Jameis Winston in 2019. That was another thing
with the Lions. They had long, sustained drives.
As they did last year, too, when they were banged up. But Jared Goff in the offense able to sustain these long drives, keep the clock moving with Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery.
Keep Lamar off the field.
Exactly. And I say it's a better version of Jameis Winston in 2019 because the defense would get cooked. Jameis Winston would throw a pick. The defense would be right back out there. In this case, it's a good positive one where you're scoring touchdowns and then your defense is giving up a touchdown. So it's slightly better because Jameis Winston wasn't scoring touchdowns. The Ravens' offense is this year. But it's the same thing of getting a bad defense out there and tiring out your defense more and more. And you saw it late. And I'll give massive credit because we were worried about Ben Johnson's gone. What is the offense going to do? How will the offense look? John Morton is dialing up some beautiful trick plays. The triple option, the handoff to Amon-Ra to then hand it off to, was it David Montgomery or someone, or Jahmyr Gibbs to get into the end zone. And then on the 4th and 1, you line up like you're running the ball, and Amon-Ra breaks free over Kyle Hamilton, and Jared Goff, the touch pass to seal the game.
That was a very nice pass.
It was a beautifully called game for John Morton. And Kelvin Shepard, great defensive game plan. Having that spy out there.
How about the flea flicker
really...
to Goff, who threw it to St. Brown? That was a nice play.
Again, like having those trick plays in there working. And yeah, we could say Dan gambles too much.
His gambles were right on last night.
But what we could say is he's never changed. So think about it. You know that there's in every single 4th down in the entire game, it could be on their own 5-yard line. They may go for it.
I don't think they rarely go for it on their own 5.
They would though.
Once they're beyond midfield, they generally go for it.
But think about it.
4th down.
How that must piss teams off when they're saying the defense has to play 4 downs every single game. We can't send our special teams unit on 4th down for a field goal block or a pump block because Dan Campbell's going to go for it. Think about it. People are pissed at the Eagles because they do the tush push. That bothers teams a lot, so much so they had to vote on it to maybe get it banned.
So far this year, Dan Campbell I'd say, is a genius.
But how annoying is it that the defense has to be out there for 4 downs on any given drive?
That's what you get when you play the Lions. You got to expect it.
Exactly. So I think it was a beautifully called game on both sides of the ball. John Morton, Kelvin Shepard did tremendous jobs. We know the defense is going to blow for the Baltimore Ravens. They did early last year, then picked it up. Will that happen this year?
Who are the Lions? Who are they playing?
The Lions have
next?
a tough schedule. If I can bring it up quickly, I can. Here we go. So after this, depending on how you look at it, they go home against the Cleveland Browns. The defense is going to bother them a lot. But I think that we'll see.
I think they'll win that one.
Jake Browning and the Bengals.
They should win that easy.
In Kansas City.
I think they have a good chance.
I have a very good shot at doing it.
Very good chance. They beat the Ravens in their home stadium.
So we're saying right now they win the next 3 games.
I'd say the Chiefs game's the toughest.
Okay, so you say 2-1 moving forward against the Bucks. Home against the Bucks.
I think they win that.
Okay, bye week in week 8, so 3-1. Home against the Minnesota Vikings.
I think they can win that too.
4-1. Away against the Commanders.
They have a good shot at that.
5-1. At Eagles.
No.
5-2. Giants. Home against the Giants.
They'll win that.
Doesn't matter. 6-2. Home against the Packers.
I think they'll win that one.
Okay, 7-2. Home against the Cowboys. I'm putting that in the win column.
One.
Was that 7-2, 8-2, whatever it is. Rams. Away at Rams.
That'll be a toss-up, but I think they got a good shot.
Okay, so you have 3 losses moving forward. Home against the Steelers.
They'll win that.
At Vikings.
Depends. I'd say right now, the way the Vikings quarterback situation is, they'd win.
And here's the big one. They have 3 days rest advantage at Bears to end the year.
I think they beat the Bears.
So you have them only losing 3 games more.
Yeah.
Which would bring their record to 13-4.
Yeah. I'm impressed with what they've been able to do, and their leadership, to me, means a lot.
Dan Campbell's doing what he normally does. The offense was great. They got stuffed, a couple games ago. Jahmyr Gibbs, David Montgomery didn't do anything. But hey, last 2 games, Bears 51 points.
They look like
their
old selves the last couple of games.
This game against the Ravens, capitalizing on every opportunity, and the defense looking as good as it did, forcing another Derrick Henry fumble. Fumbled in 3 straight games. Stopping him in the red zone.
The balanced offense, a great running game, and Goff being so accurate.
Think about it. They were on the 1-yard line with Derrick Henry running the football, and they forced a turnover on downs. It was a phenomenal performance.
That was a big series in the game, for sure.
Absolutely. All right, we did this. You were off for week 2, but week 1 we did this. I call it the weekly report, where you give the key takeaways and the key headlines from each NFL game for each week. We talked about the Thursday night game, so that won't be included, but every game, Sunday and Monday, so take it away for the first game.
Okay, the first game is Falcons-Panthers. The Panthers winning 30-0. The Panthers' defensive gem shuts out the Falcons. I'd say my key takeaway here, poorly run and poorly coached, the Falcons look like they are capable of losing a dozen. So bad that they may consider going back to Kirk Cousins.
I think that Michael Penix was horrible. They could not move the ball at all. I mean, it was shockingly bad. This is the Panthers defense, which is one of the worst in the NFL. And the Falcons, before going into this game, they were the fourth best defense, and Bryce Young cooked them. They could not stop the run whatsoever. They couldn't pressure him. They couldn't get to him, and the offense sputtered.
Yeah. Well,
so I think it was just a terrible game.
defense, 11 pressures on him. He's only 18 of 36 for 172 yards, 2 interceptions.
Bring Kirk Cousins into something.
He threw a pick 6 early in the third quarter to give the Carolina a 17-point lead.
That was a bad throw, too.
The Carolina controlled Robinson. He did have 111 yards total, but he never scored. A new kicker. This is the coach. I say that the Falcons are poorly run in the front office. The new kicker, John Parker Romo, right? He was 5 for 5 last week.
Yeah.
They gave him immediately a 2-year contract, right? Well, this week he missed a 49er, a 55-yard field goal attempt. So, is he any good? Nobody really knows, but he's got a 2-year contract.
There you go.
I'd say the Falcons didn't show up for this game.
I agree with that one. Let's go to your next one. Next matchup.
The Browns defense responsible for unlikely win. Browns 13, Packers 10. Key takeaway here, Packers underestimated their opponents in loss to the Browns, who made their supposedly Super Bowl contending offense look like a bunch of clowns.
I fully agree with that statement. What's Jordan Love throwing a bad interception that late, getting returned 23 yards? Joe Flacco throwing the easiest touchdown of his career probably, and then just absolutely getting shut down by the Cleveland Browns?
No, the Browns never gave up. I think the my thought is that the Packers underestimated them. They came into the game. That was my key takeaway. They underestimated them. Their kicker, the Browns kicker, redeemed himself. He had 2 field goals, including a 55-yard game winner and an extra point. Winston Judkins, their running back, 18 rushes for 94 yards.
He had a phenomenal game.
They came back from 10 points down with less than 4 minutes left. I mean, they didn't give up. So I think the Packers underestimated them. The Packers had no running game. They got all kinds of old offensive line injuries. The defense's inability to stop the Browns late in the game. Where was Micah Parsons in this game? Huh?
That's a great question.
Where was he? He was a non-factor.
He had 3 total tackles.
Yeah.
Let's go to the next one. Next matchup.
Okay. Jaguars 17, Houston 10. I'm a little surprised by this one. The Jaguars defense dominates Houston's offense in this win. The key takeaway, lucky for the Jaguars, the Texans' offensive line is a sieve because Trevor Lawrence's subpar performance is hard to forgive.
2 things. One, as we know, Trevor Lawrence isn't worth $55 million and has still yet to prove it. Brian Thomas Jr. and Travis Hunter are both horrible this year. Would you believe that when targeting both Travis Hunter and Brian Robinson, Trevor Lawrence has a lower passer rating than if he just threw it in the dirt every single time? He has a sub 39.6 passer rating while targeting both of those receivers. That's how bad this offense has been. Travis Etienne is a fine running back, had a couple good games, but I'm also going to say this. That 2023 draft class, Bryce Young and C.J. Stroud, I mean, we were really high on C.J. Stroud his rookie year because the expectations were like, we'll see what he does with a piss-poor team. He has looked horrible. Now, we could blame the offensive line.
There's no offensive line.
Right, but he has some talent around him. And the fact that you throw a bad interception late when you're supposed to be driving down, C.J. Stroud, I mean, he overcame a bad team offensively in his first year. They rebuilt it, but we're talking about, it's just like, C.J. Stroud is really, really bad. I'm selling my stock right now.
The offensive line is struggling in protecting him, and there's no ground game that kept Jacksonville honest. They were just keying off on Stroud. The receivers couldn't get open. Stroud hasn't thrown for 250 yards since week 11 last year.
I think right now, both these quarterbacks are bad. Trevor Lawrence somehow did worse. Think about that. He did worse against the worst team.
Yeah. Well, as I say,
and they're 2-1.
It's hard to forgive him for his play so far. Hasn't been great at all.
He hasn't earned the $55 million yet.
50% completion rate in this last game.
That's bad. All right, next game.
Okay, moving on here. The Vikings 48, Bengals 10. The Vikings blow out hapless Bengals. The Bengals spent big bucks on wide receivers when it's the defense that needs a big investment to make us believers.
We saw Isaiah Rodgers. He had the highest graded defensive performance in Pro Football Focus history. You can't get higher than a 99.9, and that's what he did in this game. Jake Browning looked terrible. And we have the Bengals organization coming out saying, we are confident in Jake Browning's ability. We've seen what he could do, and we like him, so we're not going for a veteran quarterback. Reevaluate that and come back to us later, because Jake Browning's not doing anything with the Bengals. I have Jamar Chase on my fantasy team. He did nothing. The Bengals offense was terrible. The defense was also pretty bad. And you let Carson Wentz do well, and the defense absolutely destroyed you.
Yeah, the dominant defensive performance of the Vikings. 3 straight forced fumbles to end the first half. 4 sacks in the second half. Isaiah Rodgers, you mentioned the PFF grade, 99.9.
Highest ever.
Wentz, he looks like another Kevin O'Connell quarterback reclamation project. Wentz played for 6 teams in 6 seasons.
That's an NFL record, by the way, too.
You know what? If he keeps playing well, I bet he starts again. I bet they keep McCarthy on the sidelines another game.
That's
He may not be 100% anyway, but I bet they give him another chance to see what he can do. The Bengals, on the other hand, they're lost without Joe Burrow. Browning under constant pressure in this game. The run game, non-existent. Their running back, Brown, had 10 carries for 3 yards. Huh?
Yeah.
That's pretty bad. 3 yards. 171 total yards on offense. They were behind 34-3 at halftime. I mean, they're done, I think.
Yeah.
I really think
Big
they're
time.
done. I mean, their defense is a sieve. They didn't spend any money on it.
Right.
They brought back Trey Hendrickson, but it's only 1 year.
He's gone. He's gone at the end of this year. 6 plays, 3 turnovers.
Yeah. The Vikings look good. I think O'Connell, a very good coach.
Well, we'll see. They played the Bengals, who were, again, 6 plays, 3 turnovers,
Yeah, but are we
7
surprised
defensive
at
points.
where the Vikings are right now to start the season?
I expected them 2-1. Did I expect them to get here the way they did? No.
Yeah.
I didn't expect them to be, like this dominant against this, kind of a team, but 2-1 is not shocking for me, at least. All right, next game.
Steelers 21, Patriots 14. Patriots 5 turnovers hand victory to the Steelers. Bumble, stumble, fumble, 5 turnovers no less, led to a Patriots loss and an offensive mess.
Why is Ramondre Stevenson still the starting running back? He has the second most fumbles and fumbles lost since he came into the league, and he's still the starting running back. You have a rookie, he's promising. First time he touched the ball in his NFL career, he ran it back for a touchdown in the preseason, and he's technically running back 3. Travion Henderson, I'd start him a little bit more. He's the only player who didn't fumble last week.
They had him in there in the second half.
And he did nothing because you couldn't do anything.
Yeah. Well, how about Drake May? What has he learned? Last year, he turned the ball over an average 2 times a game, right? Well, what happened this game? He threw a pick. He threw a pick in the red zone, right? And he fumbled.
Well, I'll say
he fumbled. This is his theme now. He turns the ball over too much. I'm worried about him.
Well, I said I'd rather have Jaden Daniels over Drake May, but I want to make it very clear. The Patriots should have won this game. Rodgers was bad.
Yeah.
They didn't do much. They didn't run the ball well. Rodgers did not have a good game. The Patriots legitimately, as you have it here, handed the victory over to the Pittsburgh Steelers.
They handed it to them.
I mean,
literally,
it was bad.
They handed the ball to them 5 times.
Yeah.
They were right down there for 2 scores that they didn't get because Drake May threw an interception and Stevenson fumbled the ball.
If Stevenson remains the running back 1, that's just for his morale.
I don't understand why he doesn't focus more on hanging on to the ball. You look at when they knocked the ball out, he wasn't trying to hang.
He's just holding it. Everybody grips it.
Yeah,
Tom Coughlin, I think, had like a demonstration years ago on how not to fumble.
Yeah.
So Ramondre Stevenson has no hands. He struggles with catching the ball. He had a good catch against Miami, but he has butterfingers. It goes right through his hands when he's holding the ball. If Travion Henderson is not running back one, I'm very nervous for the Patriots moving forward. He may not be an effective runner, but the risk of fumbling decreases by like 1,000%. Because Ramondre Stevenson has the second most fumbles in the NFL.
We pick on the offense, but the defense only pressured Rodgers 4 times and had no sacks.
Again, Rodgers didn't do anything. They averaged 2.5 yards a carry. Rodgers had 139 yards. This was just the Patriots handing the victory over. Yeah. I'm not, hating on the defense that much. I thought they did a fine job. A couple nice pass breakups. We have to realize Christian Gonzalez still isn't out there.
Yeah.
I'll wait for him to get out there. Maybe we'll see a slightly more lockdown defense. But this was strictly just legitimately Ramondre Stevenson, Drake May, and Antonio Gibson just handing the ball over to the Pittsburgh Steelers for an easy win, I think.
Okay.
Next one.
Eagles 33, Rams 26. Rams special teams disasters hand victory to the Eagles. Until early in the quarter 3, it looked like they were the team to beat. But then the Eagles blocked 2 field goals, which was no small feat.
I was going to cover this game. We both were about to cover this game. And then a guy who weighs let me see here. How much does he weigh? 336 pounds, ran it 60 yards for a kick return, a blocked kick return touchdown. Are you kidding me?
He was the ghost that haunted the Rams. He had a nice play to stop a drive, too.
He blocked the kick, then returned it 60. This guy runs it was 300
It was unnecessary.
pounds.
It was unnecessary. There was like 3 seconds left. And if they kicked the field goal and got it, they would have won. The block was all he needed. He didn't need to run it in for a TD.
Well, I expect
it was cool to watch. I enjoyed watching that.
I don't expect a guy who weighs 340 pounds to run 61 yards without anyone being even close to him.
But the Rams, they got to feel, in a way, I'm sure they feel terrible with 2 blocked field goals.
Yeah.
One with only seconds left, and they would have won the game. But, they did play that. They should have won that game.
Yes.
They should have won it. So if they come up against the Eagles again in the playoffs, watch out.
I think that at halftime, Jalen Hurts had -1 passing yards, and they somehow threw this game away with, 26 points? Yeah. 26 points?
Hurts, he turned it on in the second half.
Oh, he was incredible.
He wound up 21 of 32, 226, 66% completion percentage, 3 TDs, 117.4 rating. Not bad. And A.J. Brown actually got in the mix. 6 receptions, 109 yards, 1 TD. It was Barkley that really didn't have a great game. 18 carries for 46 yards.
26 unanswered points for the Eagles. They turned it on in the second half, and it showed.
Nakua had a nice game. 11 receptions, 112 yards. And Stafford had a pretty good game, too. 2 TDs.
I mean, it's not bad. But Jalen Hurts, they were criticizing him for his inability to throw the football very well, and he didn't throw it really at all. Turned it up in the second half, came out 26 unanswered points. So
it's the biggest comeback for the Eagles since going back to something like 2010.
Because they normally blow out teams or get blown out. So it was impressive all around for the Eagles. Congratulations.
Okay, here we go. The Bucs 29, the Jets 27. Late rally by the Jets, not enough to beat the Bucs. It was late in the fourth quarter when the Jets got the lead and thought they'd beaten the Bucs. But for them, yet another Baker Mayfield comeback win is just what really sucks.
I mean, you had Aaron Glenn dancing, doing like the worm on the sideline after that Will McDonald kick block.
That was a huge mistake because they didn't think, hey, there's a little time left. And so far, Baker Mayfield, every game, he takes him right down the field and wins with a couple seconds left.
Yeah.
He did it again.
Yeah, no, Baker Mayfield was absolutely incredible. Tyrod Taylor could operate this offense pretty nicely. He didn't have a great game, but he could operate it at a very nice level.
Quarterback controversy?
Hey, you're talking about Justin Fields.
Is he going to be back this week, Justin Fields?
I believe he's in concussion protocol right now. But no, the Bucs are a good team. Dealing with injuries. Mike Evans, though, he dealing with a hamstring injury. He'll be out a couple weeks. But
he may not get his 1,000 yards this year.
It'll be right. He did last year, and he missed 31 days. He should be back in 3 weeks, give or take. Chris Godwin and Tristan Wirfs should be coming back, I believe. So, I mean, Emeka Egbuka. What a player. I think he had a one-hand catch on the sideline.
he's very
What a
good.
phenomenal pickup for the Buccaneers.
And I'd say the Buccaneers, and this is a credit to Mayfield. They're missing 2 of their starting 5 offensive linemen. They still found a way to win.
Luke Gedeke and Tristan Wirfs, they've been all out. They've been out all season. They're still able to make plays. Run the ball at a decent level as well. They're a top 7 running team in the NFL. And Baker Mayfield's just cooking.
But Tyrod Taylor, almost 200 yards passing, 72% completion percentage, 2 TDs, an interception.
He's not bad.
Not bad.
Now the
And he was
the Bucs had
leading
a fourth
rusher,
quarter
too.
choke.
Leading rusher, 8
That's
for
bad.
48. That's bad.
That's
for
bad.
For the Jets. Wilson, 10 for 84, and 1 TD.
The Bucs are a really good team. Very, very good team.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to the next one here.
Okay. The Colts 41, the Titans 20. Colts continue offensive dominance, beating Titans handily. Only 1 punt by the Colts in 3 games. Really impresses us. Could it be that Daniel Jones is a second coming of Johnny Unitas?
We'll see. This week is going to be really determined where this team is at. They play the Los Angeles Rams this week. For some reason, I had a lot of pundits were picking Titans plus 4.5. Why? They don't have an offense. And you know what's really bad? Brian Callahan voluntarily demoted his own role as head coach and gave play calling duties to the quarterback coach. That's how bad the Titans have been so far. You have your own head coach demoting himself. That's how bad this has been. Cam Ward hasn't looked great. Daniel Jones right now is by far, he leads in EPA by 2.9 above any other quarterback. He's one of the top guys in completion percentage. He's number 1 in passing yards per attempt. Number 2. Because Lamar Jackson, he's going off pretty well. But before this one, though.
Jones, Colts offense continue to roll. Steichen continues to call excellent games, and Jones continues to execute his game plan.
I mean, Daniel Jones has looked, and I'll say it again, like a top 2 quarterback in the NFL.
Jones, first player in Super Bowl era with 3+ TDs passing, 3+ TDs rushing, and no giveaways in first 3 games. And first player to ever do it.
Unfortunately, Daniel Jones is not getting the MVP consideration that I would expect from a performance.
Jonathan Taylor having a great season running the ball. They punted for the first time in Game 3.
They did.
Yeah.
They did.
But they only punted once.
True. The best odds you can get are on FanDuel at plus 4,000 for Daniel Jones to be the MVP.
Now, he may move up the list here if he keeps playing the way he's playing.
I may consider putting a couple dollars for that.
Opening drive, pick 6. You think Will Levis is snickering in the background?
They're never going to give the reins over to Will Levis.
You don't think they'll put him back in?
No. I think they're going to try to do go quarterback coach for Cam Ward, and you have to because he's the first overall pick. But he's looked bad.
He takes avoidable sacks.
Oh, absolutely.
Drop balls by the receivers, particularly Ridley, didn't help. The defense can't tackle.
I said they don't have enough talent to be good. So we'll see.
Daniel Jones, quarterback rating, 113.4.
He does keep moving up. He is currently tied for second best odds on comeback player of the year.
Jonathan Taylor, 17 rushes, 102 yards, 3 TDs.
Best odds, by the way, for comeback player of the year, DraftKings at plus 700. Go get that. I mean, this is going to be a real test to where Daniel Jones is right now. If he goes up against the Rams and puts up a good performance, Jonathan Taylor's been spectacular. I think Shane Steichen is going to call a beautiful game. The defense is going to worry me a little bit, but Shane Steichen has been damn near perfect this entire season so far.
It's got a tough game this coming week, though, with the Rams losing against the Eagles, and they're playing at home. It's going to be very hard for the Colts.
Only a 3.5 point spread.
Measurement game.
Only 3.5 point spread for the Colts.
Game. I give Daniel Jones' agent. Everybody should want Daniel Jones' agent, right? He arranged for them to get released from the Giants. He wind up with the Vikings, which was a great move for him. Then he bet on himself going to the Colts for that quarterback competition. Look where he is now.
Well,
he made a smart move, a very smart move. He went to a very good coaching staff.
Yes.
That Steichen, I think he's a very good coach.
I will say this, though, and we said this, at least I said, and you kind of agree with me. Any quarterback that would have went to the Colts for a quarterback competition was going to win. It could have been Mac Jones. Even Russell Wilson would have beaten him out. Kirk Cousins would have beaten him out. Joe Flacco would have beaten him out. Any quarterback going over to a competition where a quarterback can't complete a pass when that's your primary directive, you're going to win regardless.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's unfortunate, but it is true. If you're going up against a quarterback who can't complete a pass,
Colts defense is, I mean, their offense is awesome.
It's the number one offense in the NFL.
Yeah.
So, hey, Daniel Jones is leading it. And I'm saying that. Look at the history of what I said.
Okay, here we go.
Next one.
Commanders 41, Raiders 24. Raiders ground pounded by Commanders. Mariota passed the test, and the Commanders' run game did the rest.
Hey, again, I had full confidence in the Commanders this week. I didn't even think about, Jaden Daniels is out. Austin Eckler's out for the year. Okay, let's go with the Raiders this week because it's already Marcus Mariota. While he did have the most quarterback responsible pressures at 60% this week, 207 yards, 1 touchdown, pass rating of 118. Again, the young running backs. That's what the big hype was preseason. Well, McNichols had a massive run, had 1 touchdown, 78 yards. He had a run of 60 on a touchdown. Overall, it was a great performance from both sides of the ball. And Geno Smith, he had 3 touchdowns, but again,
I feel sorry for Geno Smith. 19 of 29, 289 yards, 65% completion percentage, 3 TDs, 132.7 passer rate.
here's the thing. It was the quietest, great performance you will probably ever see.
He's getting no support. I mean, Gianti, we picked him
He's
to be
been
the
bad.
rookie
Well,
of
you
the
did.
year.
I didn't pick him.
I
You
did.
picked him.
17 rushes, 63 yards. He's done nothing.
3.7 yards a carry. I mean, the whole thing was, okay, we're going to be able to run the ball effectively. No, you're not. Ashton Genty has been largely disappointing. Pete Carroll's calling it out. It's not looking good for
No
the 6th
pass
overall
protection
pick.
for Geno. Defense unable to stop the run. Only 1 first down in the first 20 minutes of the game.
Dare we say that Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew unlocked Brock Bowers in a way Geno Smith isn't? Brock Bowers has been as silent as you could possibly be.
Yeah.
He was one of the top reception guys last year, totally. Yeah. And now he's not
dealing
great.
with a little bit of an injury there, I thought. Maybe.
Everybody's banged up in the NFL. It's how you perform when it's game time.
Okay,
Next one.
It was a great game to watch. Chargers 23, Broncos 20. Herbert leads comeback win over Broncos. Despite 11 quarterback pressures and 5 impressive sacks, Justin Herbert willed the Chargers to a comeback victory, leaving the Broncos, Sean Payton, and the inaccurate Bo Nix in his tracks.
Yeah, it's rough. I'm a Bo Nix believer. It's been a rough year so far. He's the lowest graded quarterback by Pro Football Focus. J.K. Dobbins had a great game this week. R.J. Harvey, their rookie, 2 carries, 2 yards, really nothing. Defense played all right. They were able to get to Justin Herbert a lot.
Yeah.
Hit
5
him
sacks.
a lot. They beat him up, and he still had 300 yards and a touchdown. He led a game-winning drive. They kicked the game-winning field goal. I mean, Quentin Johnston, he has hands. He went from not being able to catch a cold to now all of a sudden he's insane.
Yeah, this game, all Justin Herbert, who despite 11 quarterback pressures, pressured on 55% of his dropbacks and the 5 sacks, willed his team to victory. 8 of 9, 93 yards on the final 2 drives. And I will say it was a very smart move by the Chargers to bring back Keenan Allen.
Yeah.
He would play great in this game.
And he has a connection. He played with Justin Herbert before. So to have that connection, and you know what's crazy? He looked very old in Chicago. He looks young again in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
He's made some big-time catches so far this season.
Big-time catches. He really compliments McConkey very well.
Oh, yeah. And also,
Johnston, Quentin, he can actually catch the ball.
That's why I said he couldn't catch a cold over the course of his career. Now he's great. I will say this. It's unfortunate. Najee Harris, I think, tore his Achilles. But Omarion Hampton, we're going to see him come onto the scene. He had a great game last week against a good defense. And I think that, unfortunately for Harris, gets hurt. It's not great for him. But Omarion Hampton is going to absolutely light up and help out.
19 carries for 70 yards and a TD.
He also had 59 yards through the air as well.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
I think
he's
one thing that
very
we
well.
didn't mention here, Bo Nix missed on 3 deep shots to open receivers that could have been the difference in the game.
Maybe. But, yeah, it's rough for
I think
Bo
the
Nix.
defense played well. They pressured Herbert all day long, and they controlled the run game. So it was really on Nix on this game.
It's rough for Bo Nix. It really is. He needs to figure something out. Sean Payton needs to scheme up something to hopefully get this offense going. Otherwise, they're going nowhere. Let's go to the next game.
Okay, Seahawks 44, Saints 13. Seahawks dominate and blowout win, helped by special teams. Sam Darnold's 154 rating in Sunday's game would make you think he's for real. But doing it against the hapless Saints we're still not sure he's the real deal.
This was my favorite pick of the week because it was instant 21-0.
Yeah.
I mean, it was really bad for the Saints. And I want to make this abundantly clear. Why is Spencer Rattler still starting? He doesn't have a win in his NFL career. Josh Rosen, he was the third overall pick? Once he started losing, it was goodbye, we're done. 2 years into his career. Never got picked up again. Never did well again for the rest of his career. That was very, very short-lived. Spencer Rattler is 0-9, 0-10. Tyler Shuck came out there, had 2 passes. That was it.
Well, he didn't get in there till they should put him in sooner.
That's what I mean. Why is Spencer Rattler still starting?
Yeah.
I think the defense was great. And here's the shock, and we're not going to talk about Thursday's game because there's not really much to talk about, to be honest with you. How the hell are the Seahawks 1.5-point underdogs against the Cardinals?
I don't know. I think the Cardinals are
By the way,
lose
that is my
game.
other Harvey Hot Hand pick. It's
How
Packers
can
minus
that be?
6.5,
Because
Seahawks plus 1.5.
Seattle handled them easily last year.
I know.
Both games.
And the Cardinals were favored in one of those games as well.
That's right, yeah.
And how? No, another Harvey Hot Hand pick. I don't know if I'm going to do 5 on Friday, but plus 1.5 Seahawks, that's my second Harvey Hot Hand pick. It's Packers minus 6.5, Seahawks plus 1.5 on Thursday.
The other thing I'd say about Seattle, they possessed the ball only 7 minutes and 41 seconds in the first half and led 38-6.
Yeah.
That's amazing. The Seahawks scored on their first 4 possessions, needing only 15 plays to do it. That doesn't say much for the Saints' defense.
Well, the Saints are just bad overall.
The Saints' defensive collapse, only 16.7% pressure rate.
Yeah.
5.9 yards per play for the Seahawks. They gave up TDs in the red zone, the Saints' defense, all kinds of TDs in the red zone. So Darnold, 154 passer rating. You can't get much better than that. He only threw the ball 18 times. So
it's bad. Overall, I mean, the Saints are a really bad team. They're a candidate to go 0-17.
yeah.
A really strong one, I might add, as well. Let's go to the next one.
Okay, Bears 31, Dallas 14. You said it all about Dallas's defense. They couldn't stop Chicago.
I'll say it again.
Caleb Williams passed for 4 DDs, and Ben Johnson had a great scheme. But this success against the Cowboys defense may not be all that it seems.
Damn right it is. The Cowboys have the worst defense I've ever seen in years. How is Luther Burden that wide open? How is DJ Moore that wide open in the end zone, in the red zone? Second most yards of separation allowed the Cowboys defense. 27th in sack percentage. 15th in pressure rate, which that's not bad. That's the best thing they have going for them. 26th in time to pressure the quarterback. They have the most yards per pass play allowed. Third most total yards allowed. They're 6th in points allowed. This is the worst defense I've ever seen the Cowboys have in years.
The defense allowed 5 pass plays of 29 yards or longer. Couldn't pressure Williams, who had all day to throw the ball. More injuries to Diggs and Clark on the defensive side, and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah.
I looked bad for the Cowboys, I must say.
The fact that Caleb Williams threw for basically 300 yards and 4 touchdowns and looked like an all-pro quarterback after we've been questioning what Caleb Williams is and why he's looked so bad. This says much more about the Cowboys than it does
I think it
Chicago.
shows if you can protect Williams, he's going to do great. He had 142.6 passer rating.
Well, again, I think this says much more about the Cowboys than it does Caleb Williams. If you let Luther Burden wide open, how many average quarterbacks can make a layup throw? A lot. I think a lot of average quarterbacks could go up against the Dallas Cowboys if they live there. Elam got him in trade.
Yeah,
He's
Burden,
been terrible.
3 catches for 101 yards.
Again, he hasn't really gotten targeted all season. Roma Dunze had a fine game. But, yeah, CeeDee Lamb's out for a little while. Cooper Beebe's out. Tyler Guyton out.
How about Dak Prescott? His passer rating, 80. Not good.
He had a high completion percentage.
2 interceptions.
No, the Cowboys are really, really bad. They're a candidate to be one of the worst teams in the NFL. But don't worry. Jerry Jones going to be trading those picks maybe to go get a playmaker because they're still in it.
No,
they're not.
I hope they don't do that.
Next game.
Moving on. 49ers 16, Cardinals 15. Jones comes through in the clutch to win nail-biter. The 49ers win with a banged-up Mac Jones running Shanahan's 2-minute drill to perfection. Could we be headed for a Purdy Jones quarterback controversy direction?
No. I want to say yeah, but I'd be absolutely crazy to say that. I will say.
Look at Mac Jones on the sideline. His jersey all ripped to
It was
shreds.
ripped, yeah.
ripped to shreds, his knee injured.
Yeah.
He managed to run the team right down the field on the 2-minute drill with that nice pass to McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Who got the 20-yard gain and made it a chip shot field goal.
Right. I mean,
That's big.
Mac Jones operating, like, that was the most confident Mac Jones I've seen ever. The only other time that I will see that I saw a cleaner, more confident Mac Jones, I don't know if you remember 2023 on my birthday against the Buffalo Bills. That late game comeback, operating, moving down the field, 2-minute drill, and beating the Buffalo Bills in that comeback. There were some plays where he was that close to getting strip sacked, but he was just moving the ball down the field. He was confident, snap, look, throw, snap, look, throw. He was confident. He was decisive. He made some great plays, and he's getting commended for it. Christian McCaffrey's complimenting him. Ricky Pearsall's complimenting him. The whole offense is complimenting him. They know what's up, and it's as simple as that. You give him weapons. You give him a competent scheme and not a defensive coordinator and a special teams coordinator as his OC and as his play caller. Look what Mac to do. He looks competent.
Yeah.
He looks good.
Look at Pearsall. Eight receptions, 117 yards. He's their number one receiver now. On the Cardinals side, I'd say they could have won, but they had the 3 drops that ruined their chances, particularly Zay Jones' 3rd down drop that gave the ball back to the 49ers, who drove down for the winning field goal.
I will say, I want to make sure I get this right. I'm pretty sure the number is Mac Jones is, I believe, number, I want to say 3 in yards, passing yards per game. He's right up there with everybody.
He had 284 yards in this game.
Yeah, I mean, like, they're allowing him to throw. That's the thing. They're not saying, okay, we'll be passive and whatnot. Mac Jones, currently, if you look at yards per game, he's number 2 in passing yards per game. He's operating an offense at a very high level. They're not, and he's number 3 in attempts per game, too.
Well, Shanahan wanted him instead of Trey Lance.
Yeah. I don't know if I would have traded up 3 first-round picks.
Quarterback controversy.
Hey, Brock Purdy had 2 interceptions in week 1.
Yeah.
Against the Seahawks and nearly lost them the game.
You can't bench him because they just gave him $50 million a year.
Correct. But I will say, Mac Jones, number 2 in yards per game, number 3 in attempts per game. They're not hiding him. They're not saying, let's have CMC run the ball. He is dinking and dunking, but it's effective.
Yeah.
I only criticize it when it's ineffective. So I'm happy for Mac. Go, Mac Jones. You're back. I'm enjoying watching the 49ers so far.
Okay. Chiefs 22, Giants 9. Chiefs win ugly, beating hapless Giants. The Giants are winless. Russell Wilson's a bum. And Coach Daboll's a fool. With the NFL's toughest remaining schedule, starting Jaxson Dart will make those opposing defenses drool.
I'll just play the clip again. This is a red zone play. 1st and goal. Got an intentional grounding because he threw it to nobody. The second play, a nice QB draw, went absolutely nowhere. This 3rd down play, where is it? Who knows? He airmailed it. And on the 4th one, he hit the bottom of the field goal post. This is the worst operated red zone
Where
situation.
Was he throwing at?
And then also the 2 interceptions is just bad. These are like, okay, I see Malik Neighbors. I don't care who's around him. I'm going to throw it in there. Hopefully he makes a play. That's in triple coverage.
Yeah.
It gets returned a little bit, but ultimately, he goes out of bounds. And in the second one, this one was just a one-on-one hope. He wasn't open, and he underthrew it.
Neighbors, I would have thought Neighbors could have seen that coming. He might have just tried to
he
tackle
underthrew the ball, though. Like, it was bad. So Russ is done. His career is over. He's not making the Hall of Fame anytime soon.
Yeah, so I'd say, the Chiefs, massive relief to win and not go 0-3. Mahomes shook off a poor first half performance to play well in the second half. The defense effective in giving up only 9 points. Tyquan Thornton, a former Patriot, 5 receptions, 71 yards, 1 TD. He had a really good game.
Yeah.
Russell Wilson, 19.9 passer rating. Need we say more? 2 interceptions, 0 for 6 on the deep balls.
It was bad.
Yeah.
It might have been one of the worst games of his career. And again, this was an opportunity where you could have actually won the game. The Chiefs offense did nothing. So you had opportunities. Your defense played well, and you couldn't do a damn thing. It was bad.
Where is Abdul Carter?
Nowhere.
He's nowhere. This has got to be pretty disappointing for them. They used a top draft pick on him, and he's a non-factor.
I will say, though, when who got hurt? Brian Burns got hurt for a play or two. He came in. He did a good job tracking Mahomes down and bringing him down. But outside of that, he's not disrupting the passing lane.
I don't understand that. I mean, he was
pressuring the
all-world
quarterback
in college. Went high in the draft. How come he's not even out there playing? I don't get it.
They have him inside again. I think he's better
It's
on the
another
edge.
Daboll question, right?
I
He's
think
the head coach.
The Joe Shane option. There's a Shane Bowen. Daboll doesn't touch the defense, and rightfully so.
I guess not.
All right, let's final one. We talked about it earlier. Just to wrap up it, though, the next one is the Lions and the Baltimore
I
Ravens.
said these already. Lions hold off Ravens for impressive win on the road. And I'll say it once more. Dan Campbell's a genius. It's locked in my memory to go on the road with a new OC in DC and beat Jackson and Henry.
I love that. Dan Campbell has never changed. The belief is very, very high. Morale is through the roof, as it has been for the last couple of seasons. Jared Goff had beautiful touch on a number of his passes going up against, regardless of how the defense is played. Just like what we've seen so far this season. A really bad defense could do really well one week. A really bad offense could explode the next week. And initially, it was just back and forth, offense. I think the Detroit Lions defense did a great job at spying Lamar Jackson, bringing him on the ground. They did a great job overall. This was all around. We were worried about OC-DC changes, and so far in this game, this was a big test. Going up against Lamar, Derrick Henry, and this offense, they did a phenomenal job.
Got to be a big confidence booster for the players and the coaches, right? With the two new leaders in offense and defense.
I agree. And besides, again, Todd Monken called the weirdest game ever. Not helping Lamar really at all. The obvious runs, I formation, no receivers. Oh, it's going to be a run. Shocking. First and 10, second and 10. Guys are 20 yards down the field. What are you doing? We can get 4 yards and that'll be okay. Instead, I don't want to do a big-time play. DeAndre Hopkins, apparently his only use is just saying, hey, go. That's it. No real creativity to it. So it's obvious when he gets out there. I thought this was a very, very poorly called game overall. Yeah, Derrick Henry fumbled. So what? You still had to come back and try to win. It was very unlikely you were going to win anyway because the Lions were just always one step ahead of you, at least one step ahead of you. The defense played tremendous for the Lions. Offense was great. Dan Campbell, 4th and 1, deciding to go for it, and also John Morton as well, being able to have the gall to go for it on some of these big time plays, the triple option, the handoff to Amon-Ra, the dish over to I think Jahmyr Gibbs and scoring. The Lions are back. I like the way they look so far this season. I'm enjoying watching them so far. But that is the weekly recap. Thank you so much for the constant support. Well, that wraps up today's show. We'll be back Friday covering Thursday night's game, Seattle at Arizona. I like
Seattle.
I got some takes on Kyler Murray, depending on how we see it. Again,
what's
I said
the point spread?
1.5 for the Arizona
Seattle
Cardinals.
beats it.
I'm shocked after what we just saw.
I think Seattle wins.
That Seattle is somehow the underdogs.
I can't believe that.
When the Cardinals nearly lost to Bryce Young in a comeback, and they did lose to Mac Jones. And they were down through portions of the game against the Saints, and that was only a 7-point game.
So receivers have hands of stone.
Well, yeah, Marvin Harrison Jr. the ball couldn't have been thrown. I mean, it was right there, and he dropped it. That would have been a touchdown and more. Yeah. But then ultimately, first of all, there's a guy named Trey McBride. He's like the second best guy on your offense. Might want to target him more because he was targeting Zay Jones on like a 4th and 9. You have Marvin Harrison Jr. and you have Trey McBride, and you throw it to Zay Jones.
Zay Jones dropped that ball on 3rd down.
Again,
the Cardinals punt, the 49ers drive right down and kick the winning field goal. Not good.
I think again, what are you doing scheming? You have 2 better players than Zay Jones. How about you target them? And again, unfortunate, James Conner out for the year, leg injury. We'll see what they do with the running back situation, but ultimately, it's not looking good for Arizona. All right, but that does wrap up the show. My name's Nathan Harvey. That's my dad, Stephen Harvey. We have been your host of the Harvey Hour. Catch us Friday, week 4. We got to bounce back. We had a bad week 3. We got to bounce back. Harvey Hot End went 2-3. Better than 1-5 last week, so we're making progress slowly but surely. Hopefully we'll have a winning week. My 2 picks, just to get ahead of it, -6.5 Packers. I'll talk about that on Friday, and I'm getting +1.5 Seahawks. Getting that in right now. I may have 4 or 5 picks on Friday just to make it a full 5 picks, so we'll see. But yeah, that'll be on Friday, so stay tuned for that. Thank you for the constant support. We'll see you Friday, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern, right here on YouTube.
Good night, Grandpa.
Using Wi-Fi without NordVPN could mean sharing your private stuff with more people than you think. Stay safe on public Wi-Fi. Get NordVPN's special offer and encrypt your internet connection. NordVPN. Online security starts with a click.